ultimate calling of every true trial lawyer is to ethically and nobly champion the causes of the forgotten and the damned. Gerry Spence founded the Trial Lawyers College in 1994 on his Thunderhead Ranch in western Wyoming for just that purpose, dedicated to the training and education of lawyers and judges who are committed to the jury system, to the representation of and obtaining justice for individuals, the poor, the injured, the forgotten, the voiceless, the defenseless, and the damned, to protecting the rights of such people from corporate and government oppression. In all of its activities, the Trial Lawyers College fosters and nourishes an open atmosphere of caring for people regardless of their race, age, creed, religion, national origin, physical abilities, gender, or sexual orientation. Today, the Insider Exclusive will visit with Gerry Spence at the Trial Lawyers College, discuss some of the college's principles in depth, meet with some of the staff, and see some of the training in action.
It's beautiful to be able to talk about rules of law in the sky, but I had always believed that rules of law had something to do with human beings, with their suffering, with their search for justice. And if there is no connection between human beings and their need for justice and the law, then the law is a fake and a fraud and ought to be abolished.
It's again my great pleasure to introduce Gerry Spence to this series. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Besides being a great trial advocate, you do so many other things. You're a teacher. You are a philosopher. You're a writer. You're a poet. You're a photographer. I'd like to talk a little bit about your teaching methods and what your goal is at the Trial Lawyers College.
Well, I have people that come in to the Trial Lawyers College who need help. They're decent people. They care about human beings. They've lost cases. They want to win better. They want to represent ordinary people against those monstrous power structures, one of which is called the government, and one of which is called corporate America. And to put a young man or an old man or a young woman or an old woman up against that kind of odds already says what's going to happen. In too many cases, justice is just a myth in this country. If you go to a little boy or a little girl in this country and you say to the little boy or little girl, "Tell me, is justice available to you? Can you get justice here?" And she or he will say, "Yes, everybody can have justice in America. Justice is here for the rich and the poor alike. That's what makes us a great democracy."
In theory.
But the truth of the matter is that it's a myth, and it does not exist. Justice does not exist for most people who seek it. And so, what could I do about that? I can't change the system, but I can change the people who work in the system. And I can give them weapons to fight in the system that they can't get anywhere else. When they get out of law school, they are totally useless as trial lawyers. They have been destroyed as human beings. And what I try to teach them is how to survive in this business, how to win in this business, and how to overcome the horrors that they've faced trying to become lawyers in this country. The best way to destroy a human being is to put him or her in college and follow it with 3 years of law school.
I want to introduce another staff member at the Trial Lawyers College, Kent Spence. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Now, you've been with the Trial Lawyers College since 1996, right?
Well, I've actually I was here at the beginning. I went to the 1995 class, and then I've been a staff member since 1996.
Wow, it's a long time. What do you do exactly here at TLC?
Well, a couple of things. I'm on the board of directors, and the board of directors, of course, has a big job now because Trial Lawyers College has expanded a lot. So I'm on the board of directors, and then I'm a staff person. And in other words, I'm one of the teachers. So I've been a teacher since 1996.
What do you teach exactly at the Trial Lawyers College?
You know, it's hard to put into a simple answer, but when you boil it down, what we teach is lawyers how to be real, how to get rid of their lawyer layers, and to be real with the jury so that the jury can connect with them, and to learn to discover the real story of their clients so they can take that real story to the jury, and the jury gets the real story and bonds with that.
And actually, a lot of the graduates who have gone to TLC, their number of verdicts that they win definitely increased, don't they?
Yes, I think that we've seen that over time. We get reports all the time across this nation with lawyers who have gone to the college that are applying this method. And really the method started with my father, Gerry. And we've learned to teach that method. And by applying that method, it's unbelievable the results people are getting both in criminal and civil cases, but only for the people. We don't represent any corporations, and we don't represent the government.
So you would recommend that any trial lawyer, if they're not a corporate lawyer or a government lawyer, should attend this, right?
Oh, absolutely. But they cannot represent any corporations in their practice, and they cannot represent the government in their practice, because our gifts are for the people, not for people that represent those powers.
Well, your college does an outstanding job, as you can see. A lot of people are attending these. How many people you have there this session?
This session, I think there's just over 50. But this year there was there were so many applicants and so many quality applicants that we put on 2 summer programs. There's one now, and then there's another one we're putting on in September.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Another 50 people coming in.
Another 50 people are coming in.
And are these people from different law firms, or can they be like 10 lawyers from the same firm?
Well, I suppose if they all made it through the applicant process,
right,
and they were all from the same firm, they could come. Does it happen? Very rarely.
Right.
Sometimes we'll get 2 people from the same firm.
What is the criteria to qualify, other than not representing the government or representing corporations? What's the criteria to attend? Well,
there's not really a set criteria, but there's an application process, and there's an essay that's written, and we have a review panel that goes through and reviews the person's application and makes a decision from that. This barn, which is 40 feet high, 40 feet wide, and 100 feet long, was the old Denison barn from 6 miles up the valley. There was an old homestead up there and a self-sufficient ranch up there, and this barn was moved by myself and another fellow that was a buddy of mine from Riverton, Wyoming, named Rick Walters, that we moved it in when I was 21, which would have been 34 years ago. And we moved it 6 miles down the valley. I cut it in half with a handsaw. You see right here, there you can see the band that goes up. That's where I cut it in half. And the reason I had to use a handsaw is there was no electricity up there, and I was hanging off a climbing rope and a ladder off the side of the roof up here, and I couldn't use a chainsaw, and there was no electricity. Anyway, that barn was moved down here, and along with these were the original calving sheds on the side, and no one could foresee at that time that this would be the head conference center and the icon of the Trial Lawyers College. None of us ever would have dreamed that this would have been that, and now we have this fabulous conference center upstairs for the Trial Lawyers College and all these dorm rooms downstairs, and this is sort of the central building of the ranch.
I want to introduce one of the other staff members of the Trial Lawyer College. His name is Dana Cole. He's a university professor of law at the University of Akron. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I understand you teach evidence, criminal law, and trial advocacy, right?
That's right.
Being here at the Trial Lawyers College, what do you do exactly here at this college?
Well, it's a lot different here than it is at the law school, in that we're teaching trial advocacy, but we're teaching it in a new and innovative way. There's two things we teach here, really. First is we give the lawyers who come here an opportunity at self-exploration, at discovering who they are. Goal is to strip away this mantle of lawyer, this phony mantle that we use when we approach the jury, and to allow them to present themselves to the jury, to approach the jury as real, honest human beings. So that's part of it. Part of it is this self-exploration. We have to know who I am before I can present myself as a real person, and so that's a big part of it. The other part of it is teaching people a new way of telling their stories, the stories that they tell in court. We know what happened. We know the basic facts of what happened, but most lawyers ignore the most important part, and that was how it was experienced by the people that were involved. So through action methods, through some role-playing, through reenactments, we give people a sense of how the story unfolded as it was lived and felt by their clients, by the witnesses, by the people involved. In law school, it's necessary in law school to teach the elements of a tort, for example, or the rules of evidence. Right. But the problem is that as lawyers, when a client comes to us and they tell us their story, we pigeonhole what they say. We break it down into the elements. You'll tell me, you'll say one thing, and I'll say, well, that's breach, and this is duty, and this is damages. And by decontextualizing that story that way, the way lawyers are trained to do, we take all of the energy out of it, all the emotion, all the passion, and all the interest out of it. The Trial Lawyers College is a way of putting that back in and allowing us to feel and experience the story the way it was felt and experienced, and therefore be able to communicate that.
So the way they teach trial advocacy in the law school is generally pretty cut and dry. Here are the facts. This is what you should do.
Yeah, well, trial advocacy, you have to teach basic trial skills,
Yeah.
how to give a direct examination in a way that does not lead the witness,
Right.
or a cross-examination. And those skills are essential. Those skills are necessary in trial advocacy. But here we take lawyers who have those basic trial skills and we enhance those trial skills. And it's really more about telling the story in a real and honest and passionate way.
Connecting to the jury, connecting to the client.
Yes.
By way of connecting with yourself.
Yeah, we reverse roles not only with our clients, but with the witnesses in the case, with the judge, even with opposing counsel, and see not only the story that we're telling in court, but the trial experience itself from different vantage points.
There's a lot of lawyers out in the real world that have never been to the Trial Lawyers College that have done pretty well. And they don't connect to jury members, and they don't connect, they're not connected to their clients. Why should they come here?
I think some of the most successful trial lawyers in the country do that, and they do it intuitively. And I think they've been successful, and some of it's been just by their intuition. Here, this is a method for lawyers, for any lawyer, to come and experience the same level of success, the same level of success not only monetarily, not only for their clients in the courtroom, but in their own storytelling, in their own lives.
What did the Trial Lawyers College do for you?
Well, it made me a better trial lawyer, but more importantly, and probably first and foremost, it made me a better father to my daughters, Amanda and Megan. It made me a better friend. It's made me a better person. That's the introspective part of it, the part that allowed me to live a more transparent life, a life that was more honest. And but the ancillary benefit is it made me a better lawyer. It allowed me to approach the jury in a way that was to face the fear of telling them the truth of what was first going on inside of me, how I felt about the case and the issues that were impacting the case, but also to the truth of my case and to trust them.
And for them to trust you.
And it was, it's exactly that order.
Mm-hmm.
If I want them to trust me, I first have to trust them.
Sure.
And only then can they trust me. So it's what Mr. Spence refers to as the magic mirror.
Mm-hmm.
What I want from you, I have to give you first, and then you'll then give it back to me.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a relationship.
The jury will always save you if you go to them and trust them. If you are in trouble and you have been straight with them and they trust you, they will save you, always.
I want to introduce my next guest, who is also a Trial Lawyers College staff member, Vicki Slater. Vicki Slater is of the Slater Law Firm in Mississippi, and she was voted the Trial Lawyer of the Year last year. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Was it last year or this year?
This year.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
What do you do here at the Trial Lawyers College? What's your function?
Well, I am on staff, on the faculty. And basically my function is to teach the Spence method of trial skills to the students that attend here. I also teach at the death penalty seminar in June every year. And I teach at various regionals, which are shorter programs around the country.
Excellent. What do you think the Trial Lawyers College can do for any lawyer that's not a corporate lawyer? What do you think they can do for the program does for them?
Well, first of all, the program teaches them what Gerry Spence has learned over 60 years of practice in law. His record stands way and above any other trial lawyers in the country. And so there's something there. That's no fluke.
Right.
That's a steady, long record.
He's never lost a case, criminal case, has he?
Never lost, and has consistently, and has never sold out. Has always represented the individual.
Mm-hmm.
Next, the Trial Lawyers College provides to good lawyers who want to learn what tools there are out there. Any good lawyer is constantly searching for better ways to help their clients. And this is a place where we are we don't just have a method that's set in stone, but we are constantly developing the method, refining our methods,
right,
and innovative techniques. So what a lawyer may learn at a seminar today, they may learn something even new and better at a seminar next year. Mm-hmm. So it serves that purpose for good lawyers that want to better their skills for their clients. Mm-hmm. And another thing that the Trial Lawyers College does is provide a community for like-minded attorneys, attorneys that represent people on death row, attorneys that represent injured people, attorneys that represent criminal defendants. And it provides a place of just love and support and a community for us.
Mm-hmm. So it's really kind of learning how to connect with jury members, right?
That's the absolute end goal of all of it.
And connecting with yourself, too.
Right.
One of the things I read in Gerry's book was you don't talk to the jury in mass. You talk to individuals.
Yes.
Because in criminal cases, you have to have a unanimous decision.
Right.
What did the Trial Lawyers College do for you?
Well, the Trial Lawyers College put me back in touch with myself after my law school experience, basically. The law school experience is an entirely left-brain experience, and it's necessary. Mm-hmm. But you lose a lot when you just focus on facts. It's sort of like when you go to the doctor and the doctor comes in and says, you have a hematoma of whatever, and you don't even know what that means, instead of saying, you got a bruise.
Right.
So the Trial Lawyers College has basically put me back in touch with my own humanity, the humanity of my clients, the humanity of the jury, and it's helped me to try to make a human experience in a courtroom. Something real happened there.
Put your hand on the ground. What is this BS? Don't move. What, they don't use the traffic signal? I need your driver's license. You don't need nothing from me. I need your driver's license.
Stop! Okay.
I want to introduce one of the terrific staff members they have at the Trial Lawyer College. His name is Milton Grimes. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
What exactly do you do at the Trial Lawyers College?
I learn and I teach. 1995, I was invited to the Trial Lawyers College by Gerry Spence, and I've been here ever since. So for 14 years, I've learned a lot.
And what are some of the things that you've learned here?
How to be myself, who I am, how to apply the techniques that I have learned here at the Trial Lawyers College in my cases, how to discover the story, so to speak, but more so learning who Milton Grimes is. And that was a long process, one that I was resistant to at first, but once I embraced it, I can't turn it loose, and I come back every year.
I remember when I first interviewed you a number of years ago, you told a little history about how you became a lawyer. You were actually a computer programmer down in Orange County a long time ago, weren't you?
In aerospace, yes.
Right, and then later on you became the lawyer to Rodney King, which is probably what you're best known for.
Okay.
At the Trial Lawyers College, what do you have to say to folks to invite them here? Why should they come here? You
know, you mentioned computer programming, and the reason computer programming did not appeal to me and I was not suited for it is because it took me away from the people. It took me away from expressing myself. And that's what my fear is with young people today. It's too much computerization in their life, and they've lost the ability to touch other people. The Trial Lawyers College teaches you to be able to feel and touch other people and to come into touch with your own feelings. That's the beauty of it.
And that's important because a lot of people who come here, the students who come here, are actually lawyers practicing today, aren't they?
Lawyers practicing today who recognize, on the whole, that they have been detached from the human race, that they have learned 4 years of how to be detached, how to separate the emotion from the mental. And then you go to law school, and it probably does the supreme job on teaching you how to detach yourself from emotions. And I don't think life is made of non-emotions. I think life is made up of emotions.
Sure, particularly because you are always addressing jurors.
You're talking to people with emotions.
Yeah, and you have to basically tell your story emotionally.
And connect with them.
Exactly.
I haven't seen a computerized jury yet that meant anything to me. So unless I'm talking to a computer, I would really like to have human contact or human communication skills developed to the fullest that I can develop them, and that's what we do at the Trial Lawyers College.
Well, that's good, because the more people who see this, who can identify they can be better lawyers, they will come to this Trial Lawyers
Better
College.
Lawyers and better people, better fathers, better husbands, better brothers, better sisters, better human beings.
Focus our attention on, we've gone through some themes, some scenes that we already want to see, the feelings. Do we know who the people are? Their soul. Have we looked into the window of their soul, of their personhood?
I want to welcome another staff member at the Trial Lawyers College, Jim Nugent of the law firm of Nugent and Bryant. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Tell us what you do at the Trial Lawyers College.
I am what we call a staff member. So I come in and I help train the lawyers, the new warriors for justice.
Okay, and how do you help train them?
Well, what we do is we help them shed away the coats of armor that have been put on them. And some of the ways that we train them is by letting them get in touch with who they are, the core, look into their own soul and find out who they really are. And we do that by training them with psychodramatic techniques as well as outside-the-box thinking.
Let me ask you, by getting in touch with who you really are, how does it help you to be a better lawyer?
When it helps us to be a better lawyer by being vulnerable. By taking away the deception and the other safety mechanisms that we put on ourselves, we become a real individual. And what I think of is the Velveteen Rabbit and the horse who has all his hair rubbed away from him. And that is when he becomes real and is loved.
In order to be a staff member, you attended the Trial Lawyers College as a student at one time.
I did, in 1998.
How has this helped you over your career?
It has helped me by being a better person. And I am not just a trial lawyer, but obviously I'm a human being, I'm a husband, I'm a father, and what I consider myself to be is a seeker of truth. By being better in touch with myself and being open to everyone's life experiences, I'm able to connect with people better. And by connecting with people better, I'm able to pursue my passions and understand people. And when I go into a courtroom, I'm able to simply present the truth to the jury. No techniques, no fancy deceptive tricks, but just laying the raw truth on the floor.
So they can relate to it.
That's right.
You know a lot of trial lawyers, and a lot of them have not yet had the opportunity to go to the Trial Lawyers College.
Right.
What would you say to them today to encourage them to come here?
I would tell them if they want to stop practicing law as a profession, but to become simply a person who, among other things, tries cases, come to the Trial Lawyers College, shed all the deception, be happy with yourself, and live a fuller life. And by living a fuller life, you will enjoy the practice of law more. You won't have to worry about all of the fakeness of our profession.
Thanks for joining us. You can get more information about Gerry Spence and the Trial Lawyers College, as well as some of our other shows at www.insiderexclusive.tv. Thank you.